Hi, I'm Will Murphy.
And I'm Euro Stevens.
And welcome to Black Contemporary Television News,
where we say it's about us and it's about time. This couple has decided for all of this year, they're only going to buy from black businesses.
I love it. I absolutely
That means getting your dry cleaning done, the grocery store, eating out, wherever they go, whatever they do, they're trying to do it with black businesses.
Hey, honey.
At first glance, John and Maggie Anderson and their 2 kids are like any successful middle-class American family. Maggie, a stay-at-home mom, is a business consultant with 2 degrees, an MBA and a law degree from the University of Chicago. John, a financial advisor, holds degrees from Harvard and Northwestern's Kellogg School of Management.
We came up with this concept probably about 4 years ago, before we had children. We were living in Hyde Park and just talking about how we can better serve our community. And we started thinking about, well, instead of talking about it all the time, why don't we do something? So we just said, you know what? Next year, we are going to only support black businesses and black professionals to start really pushing more of our money back into the black community. Oh, good, you had the daycare receipts in here.
Yes.
The reason we took it public was to bring our conversation to the national level.
The Ebony experiment has people talking, and it's catching some flack from a few critics. But the family is on a mission.
This experience is about love and pride, okay? It's not about exclusion. What this boils down to is an exercise in self-help economics, and a thriving African-American community certainly benefits society as a whole.
We're hoping that in the dialogue that we create, we can dispel what we consider a myth about black businesses and black professionals. And that myth is that their goods and services are somehow inferior.
Have your state ID driver's license?
Yes, sure.
We believe that there's no way to stop that stereotype unless people go out there and try. And that's why we are really pushing our experience with the grocery store. I'm a foodie, a bargain hunter, and I'm very particular about the foods I give to my family. This grocery store meets all of my exacting standards. Had it not been for the Ebony experiment, I wouldn't have known this grocery store existed.
I'm the owner of the only African-American grocer in the state of Illinois. And it is important to support the store just for that sheer reason. Their support will give us an opportunity to branch out and to have more locations and to do better in the food industry.
We've had wonderful experience, the best quality, and great prices. And we've been able to maintain our lifestyle and the budget that we have for our family.
While black-owned barbershops, hair salons, and even some restaurants are within reach of the African-American community, the Andersons have been challenged by the lack of other basic businesses like dollar stores and gas stations.
When we first started, we thought the Ebony experiment was going to fail because all the gas stations were about 40 miles from our home. So we did reach out to a couple of the gas station owners, the closest one to us being Matson. That's not around the corner. But she was very accommodating in terms of offering gas cards. So we purchased a gas card from her, and now we can go to Citgo and still support her business, so.
We call those little things Ebony experiment miracles, where we wake up in the morning, honey, how am I gonna get this? And somehow we find a solution, and we've never had to cheat. There have been some challenges. I do most of the shopping for the home. I'm the homemaker. And typically, there's a Walmart less than a mile away. The Kmart is right next door. We have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. So I always need diapers, little stuff for the house, snacks for the girls, all kind of things. So I've been challenged trying to find a black-owned dollar store. That's something that we're going through right now. Just some kind of merchandise, general merchandise type place. Are you gonna even think about it? But we just can't imagine now not every day doing something to support our community. Just in buying groceries, in going to the gas station, in opening a checking account. For us to be able to feel that on that small level is just absolutely cathartic. I mean, we've changed forever. Thank you so much.
At the end of the day, it's about building and creating resources, building and creating wealth, which obviously is a huge charge of the Urban League. So as urban communities and urban development proliferate, then we win as a society.
We spent about $5,000 so far. I hope that other families will start doing what we're doing, and that at the end of the year, we can showcase to the world millions of dollars directly infused into Black communities. People think differently about Black business now. People are talking about economic development in the Black community. People have hope, and we have an example of what we did. Look at these millions of dollars.
And it's called the Empowerment Experiment. You can log on to, I think it's called ebonyexperiment.com to get details on that. Sign up for it and commit to really growing Black businesses,
You know, it's really
reinvesting in
funny
the community.
Because I grew up in a middle-class African-American neighborhood, and when I was growing up, that's all we had. I mean, there were other businesses, but in our community, it was all Black businesses.
Right.
And so we really did support the local gas station cleaners, shoe repairs, and they were little like grocery marts.
Right.
That weren't like these super chains that you would go and get your meat and vegetables and stuff. And all of that has changed since segregation was abolished.
You saw a lot of Black businesses fall off, go away, but there are a lot of Black businesses out there that are struggling. There are a lot of good Black businesses out there that we need to support. Yeah, but one of the things that Maggie says that she does, she drives 40 minutes out of her way to go to an all Black owned grocery store in Chicago.
That's a big commitment, and I mean, just think 40 minutes out of your regular path.
But they are committed to reinvesting in.
Well, you know, it's really interesting because this reminds me of Tulsa, Oklahoma, where during the boom, it was once called Black Wall Street, there was a boom when 100% of their money stayed in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Really?
And they built this amazing city with banks, insurance companies, you name it.
I know that.
There was a racial incident that occurred that caused, I don't want to say specific organizations, but organizations that were against African Americans, they burned the city down. And the thing that was so interesting about it was, again, they spent 100% of their money in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but the sad part was they couldn't insure their businesses, because there was a time when African Americans couldn't get insurance on their business.
So once it was burned down.
So when they burned it down, that was it.
Wow.
And that happened in multiple cities. That also happened in Florida.
Right.
So,
well, this empowerment experiment is certainly a wake-up call. Maybe you can do the same thing in your own community. It's probably easier to do if you live in a big city. Yeah. But I mean, just small steps, just small baby steps.
Even if you just pick one vendor that you go to and you support them. Now, make sure it's not the one that's helping us be obese.
Right. But certainly, we all can do our part to reinvest into our communities.
I first met Christian about a year ago. I visited the Hyde Park Academy in Chicago, which is only about a mile from my house. And Christian was part of this program called Becoming a Man. And it helps young men who show a lot of potential but may have gotten in some trouble to stay on the right path. They get help with schoolwork, but they also learn life skills. And it works.
When he came into our BAM circle, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Most people do not get to meet him, or if they do, it's just a handshake. He sat down with us and shared his story. And to my surprise, he was just like me, growing up without a father, and sometimes not too concerned with school.
I could see myself in these young men. And the only difference is that I grew up in an environment that was a little bit more forgiving. I told these young men my story then, and I repeat it now because I firmly believe that every child deserves the same chances that I had. And that's why we're here today. I'm going to pen this presidential memorandum to determine what we can do right now to improve the odds for boys and young men of color. And we're committed to building on what works. And we call it My Brother's Keeper.
President Obama decided to get the private sector, the public sector, these foundations, all these great individuals, entrepreneurs, get them all involved to make sure that we can have these young men go on and be successful in life. And this one here is really key for America, not just the black and brown community, but for America. It will improve America.
It's important to have resources and programs like this because it will help younger kids to motivate them, like if they're failing grades, just to keep trying and just pursue your dreams and never give up.
The community is not always that bad. It's bad because people get shot and killed. And that's all that you hear about it, but you really don't hear about YG or BAM because it's low cap, you know, it's not publicized like, oh, it's a big thing. But now what Barack Obama's doing with My Brothers Initiative is blowing that up, say it is some good coming out of the south side of Chicago.